Hey everyone, it is the afternoon of December 2nd, and there's not a whole lot to talk about. We are heading into the holidays, but I've got a quick stack of games to talk about for my pickups for the month of November. So we get right into it. Most of it is Switch games, and it's probably not too surprising. But what is surprising is I bought an NES game for the first time in like 3 years, I swear. This is Conquest of the Crystal Palace by Asmic, and this has been on my list for a pretty long time as like one of the hidden gems that I haven't picked up yet that's within reason on pricing. We're not talking about your $100, $200 games that I know are really good that are, I'm just not an NES collector. I'm not an NES. Like, I'm not going to say I'm not an NES fan because you have to be an NES fan. But, like, when it comes to, like, my retro stuff, N64 is number one, and going prior to that, the excitement kind of dies down with, 16-bit a little bit, but I mean, Super Nintendo has just tremendous games. Genesis has tremendous games that I've grew up on some of those, especially for the Genesis. NES I didn't really grow up on, and it's kind of like, most of that stuff is so, like, Nintendo's not afraid to give it away with a lot of that stuff. If you look at the Switch Online, that I think that collection is like 50, 60 games at this point, easily. So a lot of the stuff you don't really have to go out of your way for, but Conquest of the Crystal Palace, I don't see people talk about a lot. It goes pretty hand in hand to me with like Clash of Demon Head being another game that I do really like. A platformer, action game, kind of what you think of with retro games, but a little bit of, I think this is pretty interesting, like verticality, and I want to say this is also kind of non-linear, kind of like Clash of Demon Head is. I haven't played this in years now because I don't ever really see it, but I had the feeling like it's still reasonable on price. I felt like I was gonna pick it up, so I picked it up this past week actually because you just don't see it that much. One PS5 game as well. We got Blasphemous 2 here, which I got, I think it was $20 on the Black Friday week sales from Amazon. I'm not good at Blasphemous. I played the first one a little bit, got it from Limited Run. Glad that it's not a Limited Run strictly released this time. So $20, just, even if I'm not good at it and probably won't get around to it, $20 is definitely a good price because I like the style, I like the vibes of it a lot. And then we got some Switch games. Of course, I was waiting on a lot of these, paid for them well in advance for some of these games here. So start with Super Mario Party Jamboree, which really excited because they said a lot of mini games are going to be in this, and there is a lot. There's some they brought back. There's some new ones. I liked Super Mario Party a lot when it came out, and my one complaint was that there weren't enough boards in it, and I think that was a lot of people's complaints. So imagine how freaked out I was when I popped it in, and I started looking around, and when you start the game, there's only 4 boards that you could play on it, and I was like, they didn't do it. They did not do this. The one complaint I really had from a game they made 6 years ago, and a lot of people echoed that same sentiment that there were not enough boards and there was never DLC or anything like that. Some will pop open, like they'll open up some other ones to you after you get started, but I was like so scared that they were going to do that. There seems to be a lot of content in this game though, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think it is 112. Obviously, like I always get my Nintendo first party ones. I wait for the 3 for 100 sale on PlayAsia, so as I get all these Japanese copies in, they auto detect my region on my Switch, so they all play in English and everything. So I can't really read the back of it, but it does. I can see the 112 in Arabic numerals right here, so I think it's 112 mini games, which is a lot. And then they also have, they also have some like WarioWare looking type of like, not quite a mini game, not quite a full game mode type of stuff going on. It looks pretty cool. So I need a little bit more time to play that because I think it only came like 8 or 9 days ago. I was waiting for a while. And we got Ace Attorney Investigations, Volumes 1 and 2. We got the first one of these, which I had previously on a cartridge only, of Ace Attorney Investigations with Miles Edgeworth, but the second one, available, translated to English for the first time. Obviously, like I said, this is the Japanese copy that I ordered when I got my 3 for 100 deal on PlayAsia. But this is the first time that I've been able to access the second one. I haven't played either of them yet, but like, automatically, like, you get me one more game. I want this version of this game. I don't need my DS copy of the first one anymore. That's what I want. I literally just popped this in for the first time like an hour ago to start playing it. This is Mario and Luigi Brothership. I can't get over the fact that this game as well. So Mario Party Jamboree and Mario and Luigi Brothership, two of the biggest releases from this past summer into fall for Nintendo, they're also based around islands. Everything Nintendo does at this point is just islands and archipelagos. It's ridiculous. So yeah, this is also islands. Super Mario Party Jamboree is also laid out in islands. But whatever, it looks really nice. I like the art style. I like the like electricity theme and the puns. I like this little guy here. There's like a pig with a two-pronged plug for a face. Cool stuff going on. I have to bring up the IGN. I think IGN gave this a 5 out of 10. And IGN, who never give lower than 7s, is the joke. And they gave this a 5 out of 10. So wow, they must have really fucking hated it. And then like most other places gave it at least a 7 or an 8 minimum. I think Nintendo Life said that it was like maybe the best in running for the best Mario and Luigi RPG yet. So I trust Nintendo Life a lot more than IGN. So I just thought that was funny, and I really wanted to bring that up. I have high hopes for this game. Then we have Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. I think this launched digitally like 2 months ago, and then the physicals only came out this past month in November. But this is a huge, like, I can't understate what a big deal this is. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 playable on your modern consoles, including the Nintendo Switch. I was saying, like, I didn't ever want to, like, let this be a thing, but I probably... And I suck at these games. I'm fucking terrible at these games. I'm not good at them. I've gotten my ass kicked by these games already. And I had one of the arcade 1-up, like, countertop size of Marvel Superheroes, because it had that, it had Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I think they have a full-size machine that has MVC 2 on it, and that was, like... Even that alone, like, getting licensing for that is a pretty big deal. But if you look at this game, it has seven titles in the collection, starting with X-Men Children of the Atom, so that's like when you start really early in the Capcom era of their fighting games, because it's just X-Men, Marvel Superheroes, then we get X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and also the Punisher beat 'em up, which was ported to the Genesis, but is also the arcade version of that as well. I feel like I would have paid $40 just to have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on a Switch cartridge. Like, that's such a big deal. If you don't, like, know the thing about, like, there's so much licensing going on with that game, and it used to be available digitally, and then, like, people like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 so much more than Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is a great game, and way more than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which people really didn't like. Like, they didn't like it so much that people basically went back to playing Ultimate MVC 3, both for fun and competitively. So, like, just the fact that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 being available again after being delisted is a huge, huge deal. So this is a great value of a package, especially because, like, the games, like, PS1 or Saturn versions of these games are, like, really expensive physicals. Like, most of these cost $100 complete on PS1. Like Marvel Superheroes does, X-Men does, which I think is a long box game on PS1. Like, they're crazy. Like, but yeah, just Marvel vs. Capcom 2 alone probably worth $30-$40 really. So this is a really good collection. I'll get my ass kicked by that all day long. And with that, there's a Fighting Collection 2 coming out, and there's gonna already have the first one. I will get my ass kicked in every single one of those games across like 25 different Capcom fighting games. I'm just glad that we have them. And lastly, we're going to cap off with another collection. This is Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 Remastered. I've actually said for a long time, as much as I fucking love Uncharted, and I really like the new versions, the like post-reboot era of Tomb Raider and Lara Croft, these original PS1 era games, I've never been good at them, and I've never really liked them. I just think that they've aged into being sort of unplayable. So I've always had a problem with them. Like, I've usually said that, like, Tomb Raider Anniversary, like, this is the only way that, like, Tomb Raider 1 becomes even playable to me. And that is a good game. I like that one a lot. So 1, 2, 3 here. Done by Aspyr, though, and for the Switch, and with like all the extra content, any extra content they would have had, all being available in this package. I think it was like $25. Good deal. I give it another try. Like, this is like the way I would want to own these, because like concept wise, like I would like Tomb Raider's a thing I would be super into, because I love Uncharted, I love Indiana Jones, all that kind of stuff. I just like never liked the PS1 era titles at all. So this is probably the best way I'm gonna have a chance of getting into this series in these forms. So yeah, with that, there's only 7 games this month, some really big ones. But you know, see what the holidays bring. A lot of stuff going on. And I'm ready to finish up playing, just the playing part, obviously, because there's a lot of reviews to write. But like, we're within 3 games. I have 3 games left in the North American library for the N64 to play, stream, do gameplay footage of, write those reviews, and we get the whole back catalog of stuff I've written, stuff I haven't written, to upload to the site. So much. Very exciting. I've been doing this for 8.5 years now. So check that out. Be on the lookout for when I get to Tony Hawk 3, because that is the last one in the North American library. Pretty amazing. Can't believe I stuck with the project this long. See you next month.